Hello, how are you doing? Welcome to another episode of Wisdom Moments on K24 with me, CJ Atemo the Sage. We have been talking about when to leave your employer, when to leave your job. And we've had quite some engagement this week. I hope that it has been beneficial to you. So keep your comments coming. You need to subscribe to my YouTube channel, CJ Atemo. And as you do that, you also set notifications so that every time we upload the videos, you get them. And what you need to do as well is to watch, like, share, and leave comments because we want to hear your feedback. I am CJ Atemo on every other platform as well, whether you are on Twitter, Instagram, you are on Facebook, or even on LinkedIn. It's CJ Atemo everywhere. So you can engage via the DM or the inbox. If you have questions, clarifications that you need, you have something that you'd want me to address, I'd be so glad to do that. And I will do my best to respond to you the earliest that I possibly can. If you need to do email, cjatsol@gmail.com, cjatsol@gmail.com. So we've talked about various reasons why you would leave your workplace, when to leave your job or your employer. And today I want to share what would be the crowning for this particular one and this particular season of me talking about this, because we cannot, comprehensively talk about everything that would make you leave or everything that would validly make you leave your job. But so we just do and guide a bit. We just do a little and guide you and give you perspective. But the last thing that I would want to talk about for this particular week is when it is costly to stay. When it is costly to stay. Well, we talked at some point about, a toxic environment. And that is very related to what I'm talking about right now, because there are those times when your value systems disagree. You're no longer aligned to the principles of that company. Maybe the company principles have changed. Maybe there has been a reinvention of the company, the policies, the programs, products. They have decided to start certain things that do not sit well with your value system. It may not be that the environment is toxic, really. It may be that you have the greatest team around you, but then they have come up with certain inventions, directions, strategies that do not sit well with you. Anything that costs you inner peace is very costly. If it doesn't sit well with your value system, if it begins to haunt you when you go to bed, if it begins to work against you and how you relate with people or how your future would be viewed and your future prospects as well, then that's a bit costly. There are certain things that you would do right now that will come back to you in 10 years' time. We have seen today people who will be affected either by a Facebook post or by a tweet. There are people whose reputations have been hurt because of stands that they took at certain points, and now they've got to keep on explaining. That's so true and so rampant in politics. Of course, most times people will say, you see, politicians always lie. These people are very selfish, so they don't have values, they don't have conscience. The truth is they do, but they do certain things for that particular point, for that particular time. They are looking at expediency above everything else. So later on, when they want to come into the place of conscience, nobody believes them and nobody trusts them because their positions are so contrary and there has been no progressive explanation of why they are in the place that they need to go. Sometimes you are looking for jobs now with different organizations and they take you back into spaces of tweets and positions that you had to take, either because you had to be loyal to the company or the organization, the team that you are in, or just that you had to take a stand for a people even against your own values. Later on, when you want to dissociate yourself from whatever has been done before and say you did that under coercion, nobody will believe you, because they will say you needed to have been principled enough to resign. That if you don't agree with what people are doing in a certain place, then you need to get out. See, you will not easily explain yourself in the future over things that you needed to make bold decisions about and you did not. Anything that has to do with your integrity, anything that has got to do with your morality, anything that has got to do with values, you will not explain yourself about in the future. For example, how would you say that you were in charge of the people being sacked, like an entire company, people losing their jobs, and then later on you say you did not agree with the company? Nobody will ever believe that. How would you say that you were in charge of the police at a point when the police was shooting and killing everybody, and then you had to say nothing, then later on come out and say you did not agree with it? That's too costly. There are certain things that you can always get out of and get away with. Certain things you just can't. It is too costly. When it is too costly to stay, then you need to get out. Now, it's a noble thing sometimes to resign based on principle. Not protest, but principle. For example, this is what you believe that needs to be done, and the company thinks otherwise. You have let them know what your vision or opinion is, what your view is, what your perspective is. But either by the vote of the majority or because of the interest of the company, they feel they've got to do something completely different. Well, what do? Do you stay in there with a conscience that is going to keep on pricking you? Do you stay in there and keep sabotaging them? Do you stay in there and keep on feeling like you are not part of it? Or do you move on to the next place? This is how you make decisions. If it is very costly for you, if it will cost you your family, your friends, then sometimes you may need to leave that employer. And sometimes this is not even about values. Sometimes it is about how you're working. Like if you are going to be working the whole day into the night, and sometimes you don't have time even for your family, that is too costly. Some people will say, well, as long as I bring the money. Well, you may bring the money and you may offer the best life in quotes, but then what are you losing as you gain that? If you're losing your children and they're becoming strangers to you, you're losing your loved ones, you're losing your social network because you're pursuing money, maybe it may be very costly. Because everything around life must have a certain sense of balance. So you could be working and getting the money, but then you don't enjoy the money because you no longer have family or friends, you don't have anybody else. And even in the workplace, you don't form connections with people. So you just get and get and get. Remember, I did talk about the other day that we should not be automatons. We're supposed to be human, and as human as possible. Celebrate with those who celebrate and mourn with those who mourn. Sometimes people are just going through the paces and they have absolutely no excitement for what they are doing. They have absolutely no zeal for what they are doing. And they are in it, as I said about some people, for the money. But then again, you look at that money and you ask yourself, is it worth it? Sometimes you will need to take less money in terms of remuneration, but then you know you're living a more wholesome life because you are involved and you are growing and evolving in every aspect. It's not always just about the money. Sometimes you need to grow in so many other ways apart from the money. And so if you were given opportunity to go into something that will probably give you less money, but it will give you more fulfillment and allow you some time to do things that you love and have time with yourself and with the people that you love, you may need to choose the one that has the less money, because sometimes even when you're being paid more, it is too costly to stay. This has been Wisdom Moments on K24 with Ms. CJ Atemo. Hope to see you again next time. Keep it right here. And remember to subscribe to CJ Atemo on YouTube channel.